One of the biggest game changers in your health is knowing what your body is actually saying. And the body has its own language. It uses things like symptoms, which are clues of what's going wrong in the body, but it also does things like when you get your blood work done or you get some other tests that I'm going to talk about in a minute done, those are going to actually put you on the right path to where you should even begin. I'm always talking about foundations. So this is a foundations in functional testing episode. You are showing up for everyone else, but somewhere along the way, you left yourself out and put your health on the back burner. The woman who takes care of everyone else needs someone in her corner too. Hey, I'm Cher, a certified holistic nutritionist, Christ follower, wife, and mom. And I created this podcast for you. Style and Stewardship is for the Christian woman who is done surviving her days and ready to steward her health legacy on purpose with real food built for the season of life that you're in. This is lifestyle stewardship for the woman who wants to do well, be well, and hear well done. I'm so glad you're here. Have you ever heard the term that you don't know what you don't know? There's actually a little bit more to that. You don't know what you don't know to ask. So it's one thing to enter a situation where, say you go to someone's house, maybe they moved into a new home and you're bringing them a meal. And if you don't know what they like to eat or what food sensitivities that they may have or what dietary restrictions, you may take them something that you like that you assume because it is healthy that it's also going to be healthy for them. But not knowing to ask the question, what do you guys like to eat or what works for your diet, puts you on a whole other path with showing up in hand with the right things for that family. Our bodies are very, very similar to that. Our bodies are going to do things like give us clues as far as what's going wrong in the body. And many times the area that we're feeling something in or the pain that we're experiencing or the symptom that we're experiencing, it might even be showing up in a part of the body that it's not even originating from where the injury or the imbalance occurred. And it's important to keep that in mind. But I wanted to speak on that for just a second because a lot of times people think of symptoms as something that they want to fight and something that they want to stop. And that's great. We do. Who wants to feel bad? If I have a toothache, I want the pain gone. If I have a headache, I want the pain gone. So the body is constantly giving us this feedback, this biofeedback from our biology, from our physical body of the different things that it may be needing. And those symptoms are not a diagnosis. So say you have, with the exception of you broke a bone and the symptom is you're in excruciating pain and the root cause is the bone was broken. That's where the pain's coming from. With the exception of something that happens like that, which would be something that's acute, we're talking about things that are more chronic, more ongoing, things that you have been dealing with for years, or things that you have begun to deal with over the last weeks or months. Those things are many times showing up in your body in a way that is kind of hard to pinpoint. And one of the reasons why I started approaching my own health and wellness by getting lab work done, getting my blood work done, getting specific tests done, and also getting things like food sensitivity testing, which is something that I offer for my one-on-one clients. Food sensitivity and allergy testing and things like your blood work, all of those things tell this picture. And even an oat test, which is an organic acids test, which basically tells us what's left over after our body uses certain things. And it gives us really huge clues into what the body is and isn't getting. So I'm not a doctor, so I'm not looking at these reports as any sort of diagnostic tool to tell you have or don't have something. I'm not here to diagnose anything. I'm not here to treat, cure, diagnose anything, nor is anything that I speak about on this podcast any sort of replacement for your medical professional. So always go to your doctor if you're changing anything. The reason why it's so important to find out what's going on in your body specifically is because we can make those assumptions. We can make the assumption that I have a headache, so I'm going to take something. But what if that symptom continues on and it becomes chronic? Well, if it becomes chronic and it's ongoing, it means that you have not found the root cause. It means that we need to go deeper and we need to see what's going on under the hood, right? With a car, you take it to like one of those car places and you can hook it up to one of those little handheld computers and it can spit out all these different things that might be wrong with it. And then from there, you can maybe take it to a mechanic, and maybe the mechanic, like you go to a doctor, right, is going to diagnose what's happening in the car so that you can then figure out with that data, how do we approach fixing the car? Where's the breakdown? Why is this issue happening in the car? And now we can do something about it. Now we can move forward. And the power of that is you now have foundations on how to approach your own health and wellness. Without these foundations, it's just like showing up at your friend's house with some really healthy food, organic food, a meal that you made from scratch, all the things, and her family can't eat it because they're allergic to dairy or they are allergic to garlic. All of these things are going to, if we don't know what we don't know, and then we don't know that there are questions that we're not aware of that we should ask and layer on so that we can get the best answer, we're going to miss this. And I say this a lot, but this is not the Garden of Eden. Nothing is perfect here, right? God's going to make all things new, a new heaven and a new earth. Until then, we're in this in-between of stewarding our bodies in a fallen world. And this is something that takes grace. This is something that takes wisdom and discernment. We're not going to accidentally be healthy. You're not going to one day wake up and everything's gone. And I'm not speaking as far as God healing. God can heal you in a second. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the things that right now we are dealing with. And I should say, not even dealing with, right now we're experiencing certain things, and those things can be addressed in our health, but it takes asking the right questions and to get to a place where we know where to start. But you can't start building a house without first laying a foundation. I use this analogy a lot because I think it's really important. We all understand what it's like to live somewhere, and we know that the house isn't just floating in the air somewhere or sitting on sand somewhere. We know that it is affixed to a foundation that is holding everything else together. Well, stewardship of our health works the same way, in my opinion. How we steward this body and our health is going to impact how we steward everything else and the capacity that we have to hold all the things, the capacity that we have to do the things that we're called to do. So that's why it's important, and that's why it matters. You can listen to episode 117 or 116 where I lay down this foundation of biblical stewardship, and not just from the standpoint of finances, but from the standpoint of all the call to stewardship, really. And the very first episode back in 2020, I want to say it was like February or January of 2020 was the very first episode of this podcast. And the second episode, and it was basically, welcome to the Style and Stewardship podcast. And I shared as part of my testimony as far as getting this word stewardship from God back in 2017. But then I go on the second episode to talk about, and they're terrible. They're really, really bad. I mean, we're talking 6 years ago. I didn't even know what I was doing. I'm still learning as I go. So no, I'm perfect here, right? That's where then it was the call to stewardship, right? I believe that that stewardship is a call because everything that we have is not owned by us. It's just managed by us for a time. And that is that is the foundation of everything that we talk about. So I'm not going to sit here and give you a diet plan. I'm not going to sit here and give you a meal plan or tell you what to eat or how to eat or what supplements to take. You can check out the episode on supplements. I feel a lot of people are going wrong in this area. I believe that's episode 115. I'll link everything I'm talking about below in the description of the show notes. But a lot of what we're doing is we're not addressing what's actually going on if we're only doing symptom management, and we're not addressing what our unique body needs if we're not pulling data. So if we don't have the data from the chemical processes that are going on in our body, what's happening in our blood, what our literal details, it's like going to that auto parts shop and getting that printout of all the things that might be going on. Our lab work is the same way. These are the things that might be causing imbalance or malfunction along the way. These are the things that we need to approach. So you might say, I'm going to try this diet or I'm going to try that diet, and you're trying something that may not work for you. That's a problem because you're doing this thing to promote health in your body and to promote longevity and to promote just, energy and vitality and healing and all of these things. You're doing this, but you're starting it's and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't eat healthy. I'm always saying eat real whole foods. That's one of the things I say all of the time. But not just that. So that beautiful meal that you took to your friends, you may not know that they have allergies if you don't ask. If you don't get that device that gives you the data on what's going on in the car. It's the same thing when you're not asking the question of what's wrong. Before anything can be measured and anything can be changed, you must first have data points. You must first have some sort of intel or information so that you can then approach your health with the right answers. And this is not something that happens overnight. That is why when I work with someone, it's for a 3-month period, because there are a lot of things that we can shift in the body in 3 months. In the first month of the program, we are working on foundations, but we're not just haphazardly doing things. We're setting the foundations because we are getting the data from your body, and then we are learning what is right for you, what's unique for you. You have people right now walking around with migraines that they're struggling with, and they have no clue why they have the migraine. So they're taking medicine, and then that medicine doesn't work because addressing the symptom does not address the root cause. So they just end up what's the next step? They go to the doctor, and then the doctor gives them something pharmaceutical strength that's stronger, and now they're taking that. Well, guess what? That's still where am I going with this? You see how we unlayer these questions little by little, and this is how we get there. If you don't get to the place of what's the root cause of this migraine, why does this person keep experiencing this? You're just going to play whack-a-mole, and you're going to get on stronger and stronger medications, and you don't uncover what's going on under the hood. You don't uncover the imbalance or the malfunction that is going on that is leading to this symptom. So a symptom is just an outcome of what's going on. It is not a diagnosis, nor is a diagnosis the answer. It might give you answers as far as what to call something. It answers the question what, but it doesn't answer the question why. And this is such a pivotal moment, and this can be such a turning point in your health. If this is something that you are interested in working through, getting to the foundations on, and really understanding what foundations you need to place in your unique body and health so that you can steward your health on purpose and intentionally with the right information, asking the right questions, that is what I love to help Christian mothers do, Christian women do. You can go to styleandstewardship.com/CALL, and we can start with a conversation to see if we would be a good fit, to see what season of life you're in, and to see what it looks like for us to work together if that's going to be a good fit. I cannot stress this enough. Being intentional about your health is what actually shifts things. Getting into balance in your body is what actually shifts things. But asking the right questions, that can change everything. If this episode has been helpful to you, if this is something that gave you a little food for thought, or you know someone that is on a health journey, be sure to share this episode with them. And I know what it's like to go through just so many things in your body and asking these questions. And the biggest needle mover for me has been testing. It truly has been. I just want to encourage you today to ask God about your health, your wellness, and the legacy of that health. Until next time, your life matters. What you do with it matters. So what will you steward well?